the government engaged a set of consultants, people consultants, and we asked them to introduce themselves in a little while. And their job is to look at the stadium, look at the possibilities, and make a recommendation as to what should be here. As part of that process, it requires that they come back to the community and say, this is what we are thinking, and to get a feedback from the community. And this is not in response to the art that was published some weeks ago and saying nothing was being done. This is something that we've been doing for some time. We have reached a stage. What is going to happen is that, based on your response, if there are any, they will finalize their plan, send it into the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance will then, it will have a cost. Look at financing, whether they agree or not, and then they'll implement. So the stage that we are now is to finalize the plan. And your input, if any, is going to be critical, because this particular stadium, a major part of what we plan to do here involves community activities. Not just activity for the national team, but there's some community involvement. So your input is going to be very critical. So we welcome you. We'll ask the panel to introduce themselves first, who they are, and then I'll turn it over to them for them to make their presentation. I'm Major Desmond Brown. I'm the General Manager of Independence Park Limited, who presently have responsibility for the stadium. Your name, sir?
All right. My name is Christopher Shaw. I am representing APEC Consultants along with Wayne Ray here and Mark Taylor. We are an architectural firm, but we brought on other people like Wayne, who deals with the economic assessment, and Mark, who is an architect. So we have a multidisciplinary team working on this project. Who are not here at this meeting are our IT specialists who deal with the communication, the scoreboards, and those sort of things. But we felt that we didn't need them here today because we really were talking about the development plan process. And we're going to take you through in a short while that process, the thinking behind it, why we have come up with the things we have come up with and recommendations. Because what we've been doing is a series of reaching out to the community, reaching out to organizations within the area to just try and find out what it is that will make a center like this tick. Because that's what we all want to do. So we'll go into it shortly. I don't know if Major Brown wants to wait a little longer or he wants to start right away.
He says it's over.
I think we're ready to start.
Start? Okay.
I just, before we start to show you pictures and talk to you about the work we've been doing, just to let you know, we've been working with a number of you for some time. So a number of you are aware of what we're doing. And this is not our thing that we are bringing to you. This is something for all of us. All of us are on the same side. And what we're really trying to do is to work out what the best things that we can do with this facility so that A, it has to pay for itself, and it has to serve the people first of this community and of Jamaica. And that's what we're trying to do. Okay? And we will take that back, the thoughts that come from you and the thoughts that come from us, we will take those ideas back and share them with the government who are our employers. Okay? So it didn't come here for us to present to you alone. It's to try and elicit broader ideas. And we have already, as I said, been working with certain people from the community. So this is for the broader ideas. So at that point, it's over to Mr. Shaw.
And we don't mind, because it's an interactive meeting, so we don't mind if,
put up your hand,
as the presentation goes through, if you see anything, rather than wait till the presentation is finished, you can ask and we will stop and discuss it and explain the ideas of it. Okay? All right. One of the things that struck us when we first took on the project was the growth of this whole parish, right? and the growth of the whole area, which is a rapid growth over the last 10 years when this facility was built. It was built almost in a virgin territory. And if you now go on the Google map, which we'll go on shortly, you'll see the rapid growth that has happened around the center. And therefore, it is important to us to understand that growth dynamic and to try and trap into it to see what we can get from it. Okay? And that's basically the map which shows the center, the highlighted area where Trelawny Sports Complex is, with the growth of Falmouth around it. And basically what we identified, because we had to identify drivers, what will make this thing pulse, was that it was large port facility with a captive audience, right? You get cruise ships coming in with over 3,000 people on them, okay? A growing commercial center, which is the town of Falmouth, and we work in Falmouth a lot, and every time we come down here we see new buildings going up, new growth. Expanding housing, the housing is expanding both east and west of the island, of the highway. Large available pool of hotel rooms. Each year more hotel rooms are coming on board, and this is very important in terms of market viability. You know, when you're trying to bring teams down or bring people down, first thing they want to know is how much hotel rooms are available. That's why Kingston sometimes has problems, because up to about 2 years ago they didn't have enough hotel rooms to really make the market viable. Strong parish association with sporting legends. We all know that there are sporting legends that come from this area, and the parish is known for, almost the sprint center of the island. Available land for development. There's still prime land around the Trelawny facility, the sporting facility, that can be developed, and that is a plus to it. In other words, it is not crammed in by the housing around it yet. There are fairly large acreage still around it that can be developed for the activities that we're thinking about. And importantly, the proximity to the highway. So both from Montego Bay to Trelawny here, or from Kingston down, the highway is there to assess. And what we noticed when we went into more detail on the surrounding lands of Trelawny is that you have a strong residential community, over 1,500 houses around this facility. And if you look at those housing developments, you'll realize that there's very little first-class recreational amenities associated with these communities. There's open space, but it hasn't been developed fully, right? We're also trending this new healthy lifestyle that the Ministry of Health and Wellness is putting forward, that it's a new market trend. People want to live healthy lives, and they need to have facilities that they can do exercising and those sort of things. And it's a large expanding school community. As the residential community expands, the school community also expands. And those schools also need facilities. So one of the things we looked at in the redevelopment objective was we have this guideline that we've attached to the project, which is the project aim is to serve the community at large by provision of first-class facilities that can also be maximized on their commercial potential by targeting a pool of other potential user groups, organizations, and individuals. And how we arrive at that is we say, well, if you're going to provide a community facility, you don't just knock up a building, but you provide a first-class community facility that is primarily for the community at first to use, but it can be used for other activities as well. It is not deficient in its design or its speccing of the materials or its use, right? And so that's the important thing. First-class facilities that can be used for others, right? And we're looking also, with first-class facilities, you have to make certain that there's a revenue stream that can support them, because they all need maintenance. This is one of the problems of this facility. With the lack of a revenue stream, the maintenance cannot be first class. The maintenance cannot be first class simply because there's not enough revenue stream coming in. So the expanded revenue stream will include what we want, which is community sporting facilities, a commercial gym, expanded cricket facilities because we recognize that this is the core of the center, so we want to expand those and improve on them. Multi-purpose sports hall, upgrading of the existing stadium facilities to expand its field so that you don't only have cricket, but you have cricket and football, provision of additional sport and support facilities, and then possibly looking at, just like how this facility here now is being used for a community town hall meeting, how can we best use the existing facilities for other uses when it's not being used for its primary sporting activities. So we can invite sports, we can invite town hall meetings in here, we can make revenue out of other things. We can have wedding receptions, for instance, in these facilities. So it's really thinking outside the box to see how you can repurpose the facility and not just mothballing it because you're saying, well, it's just strictly for sports, right? So there's provision of athletic training facility, which we are going to be proposing, and support for mid-scale, because it's not really the Bob Marley Entertainment Center of Trelawny, but a mid-scale facility that can support entertainment venue market, and additional temporary parking, because when you start getting more popular, there'll be a greater demand for parking as well. So basically what this shows you is the enhanced venue opportunities. We're looking at cricket, we're looking as a primary use, but it can also support football, it will also support events and community use like gymnasiums. Okay? So the first redevelopment objective was a community facility. And what we thought of was a community facility that would be developed just at the entrance to the gate. So that's the main gate entrance there. And this is the highway coming down on the road.
The main road.
The main road.
Not the highway.
Yeah, not highway, the main road coming down. There are communities at large on both the left and the right and in this area. And so what we designed was a community facility that would provide a number of activities for residents. First off, there's a community changing facility. Then there are netball courts, basketball courts, volleyball courts, and a small football field, and adequate parking. So this is a self-contained facility. And the importance of locating it there was just in case you had an event going on in this facility. You could still use this and you wouldn't be barred from use of it because there's a facility, there's a sporting activity going on here, simply because you access from the road. So it's a self-contained facility. What we want to also do is to put lights into it so that basically you can operate it like a true community facility. You come home from work, you want to go and play basketball with your colleagues, you can go down to the center and play basketball. You want to meet at a club there, you can meet. You want to do football, while your kids are doing football here, you might be meeting in the club there, or you might be doing a basketball game there. So it is a multi-use facility that we're planning for that area, okay? And as I said, it has 2 basketball courts, 2 netball courts, 2 volleyball courts, a small football field, children's play area, a small stand, so it's not meant for major competition, but it's a small stand that you could have, like say you have a primary school event, you could have it here, you know, and they could enjoy it. And then LED lighting, and that's an important factor because what we don't want to put in is just any normal lighting. This is special lighting, which is low on energy use, and that's very important because again, each of these inputs is a cost center. And what we have to make certain is that you can earn revenue from this cost center. Okay? So that's one of the first features that we're looking at. And that's what we consider one of the primary drivers of this project, the community facilities that are going to go into this. The other facility we're looking at is a commercial gym. We recognize that if you're bringing down sports teams down here, and also people are getting more and more health conscious, they need a good gym, a really well-equipped gym. And therefore we're considering putting into it a commercial gym that can be used by the sporting fraternity, but also you can get gym membership from the community, so that you can become a community member. So it's almost an equivalent to what Spartan is in Kingston. I think most of you know the Spartan gym in Kingston. It's that sort of gym, fully equipped, large enough, massage rooms, air conditioned as all gyms have to be now, dedicated parking management offices, and again, making use of the green energy to ensure that the maintenance bills are kept low. So there would be a commercial gym operating within the center. Then there's a multi-purpose sports hall. And the reason why we put in this sports hall in is because we did our assessments and looked at some of the facilities in the hotels, and we felt that there was a need for a large facility that could hold basketball games undercover and those things. But at the same time, if you had a large graduation, a school graduation, and you wanted it to be held outside of the school, you could do it in this multi-purpose facility. So the multi-purpose hall is almost an adjunct to the sports facility. It provides also coaching requirements and those things, but it is equipped to again be used by outside people. It can be used for many purposes. It's not specific to netball or to basketball. Okay. On this diagram, as you come in, this is the main entrance, and when you came into this venue right now, you came in here, you came down here, you parked here, and you're right here, and you're right in this building here. On this section here, right here, is the multi-purpose facility. The gymnasium would be located here, so it's coming down, and the gymnasium there. And there's a gully that runs right on the edge here, okay, which we'd retrain as well. And the location of these, again, are strategic because they're positioned just on the edge of this facility, so that, again, if this facility is being utilized for a major sporting activities there, you can still come into the gym or the multi-purpose facility without getting into the body of this facility. Okay? Yeah? Mm-hmm. We're going to get to that one. The indoor cricket facility is over there. Okay. Well, this is a commercial activity. We see this as a commercial activity. It cannot be like, for instance, a facility that Mark, you want to say something?
I was going to say there's nothing here that's regulatory.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably noticed by now that there's no such thing as free health. There's no such thing as free schooling. Everything has to be this partnership between everybody. And it has to be good.
Quite often, I think that they would consider given the peculiarities of this fauna and fauna and the fact that we can expand much more. There's a potential, I think, for, I don't want to say light industry, but commercial type activities that would add to such the concept. I mentioned it that way, so I don't know if that was it.
Yeah, we have
an idea that time.
But I think this center I think there are other available lands for that type of development. In fact, even down at this section here, there's major lands which are part of this property. I think this is really the core of entertainment, sports, and other activities like that, rather than the industrial and other heavy uses. Okay? Yeah. All right. Mention was of the cricket facility, and as we said, the primary use of this venue is cricket. So we wanted to strengthen that, and we did our market segment analysis. We looked at facilities in Barbados, we looked at the Brian Lara facility in Trinidad, and we looked at all those other facilities, and we looked at what types of people were coming to them. And sometimes you get teams from overseas that come in for training or for small competitions there. And we decided we needed a facility like that here, which could be one of the more excellent facilities in the region. So within it, you will have the indoor cricket facility, 4 indoor bowling lanes, equipment storage, changing facilities, massage rooms, and you also have outdoor facilities. So this is an adjunct to the main cricket facility that we have, right? And it will be, hopefully, it will be managed by cricket professionals who can then provide the required coaching for teams who can come in and use it. Okay? So it's developed so that, and we're also going to the dormitory facility that we have, but it's developed that teams can come down. And remember I said at the start of the interview, and started the discussion, that we have to recognize that this area of the country has the most hotel rooms. And therefore, teams can come down, they can book them. And one of the other strategic things it has the most golf courses. And what we've found often is, not only the cricketers come down to enjoy cricket, but like Sir Gary Sobers, they are active golfers. So they will come here and they will participate in cricket, but in the evening or in the morning they may want to go out and do a round of golf. And therefore there are all of these other golf courses around that facilitate that. So there's this synergy between the North Coast cricket, golf, hotel rooms that we're trying to maximize on. Yeah? Sorry, you can repeat? Yeah. Most of
again, we've got some work to do with the Spanish hotels, within a decent price.
Yeah. And we recognize that this facility cannot be run solely on cricket. But that's why we put it in the other facility. I'm going to talk about 2 other stuff as well. But what we just wanted to do is try and make this position in the market, the Caribbean market, that it can be used. Right? So that's why we're looking at the Brand Area facility, which when you think about the location of Trinidad in comparison to Jamaica is strategically far better position than Trinidad to have one of these sort of facilities. And in fact, the growing market of Miami and those areas for cricket means that you can get a crowd in. Right? The other thing we looked at is the redevelopment of this center here. Particularly, we thought that using that field was not being maximized. So what we want to try and do is to develop 2 football fields side by side of the pitch, so we don't destroy the pitch, so we have the football fields there. So those can be used also for sporting activities. We also have the potential for entertainment, where you've had the Jazz and Blues Festival using this area before, and we're also putting in lights. So you have lights, and those lights aren't for competition lights. They are primarily for practice lighting, so that you can come in and you can run lights, and low energy lights, 60% saving on those lights. So you can run them without having a high budget, right? Major Brown will tell you the problems he has at the National Stadium. When he turns those lights on, his electricity bill just jumps and goes up. So nobody can rent that facility for just practice. They have to rent it for a venue competition. Whereas these, we hope that you could turn on those lights and have evening practice and drills and things like that going on late into the night when it's cool because of these energy saving lights. Okay? So there are the lights.
Time to go back?
There's provision of stadium lighting. Upgrading of the existing building, you have to look at the maintenance of that because it is completing right now, and including repurposing. Therefore, what we're saying is that, I'm coming back to say, what we're saying is that one of the main things we have to look at is how to get this building active, how to get it when there's nothing going on out on the fields, how to get people in here to be using it at nights, to be using it during the day, whether it's for lectures and those things. And one of the things we have been at pains to tell IPL is part of this whole strategy of redevelopment isn't just physical redevelopment, but it must be redevelopment using a marketing strategy so that you can get somebody actively involved in trying to market the center to try and get the venue alive again. Okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had any consultation with UTEC? Because that was originally the idea.
Yeah, the UTEC, we had discussions with UTEC at one stage. UTEC went to Montego Bay, but there are other areas that we can look at. Yeah. Subjective. And then one of the things which is not included in our budget currently, but we recognize through these studies we have done of the region, is that you need an athletics stadium in this region. You have one at Catherine Hall, Montego Bay, but we feel that one in Trelawny is key to the development of the center. It's not going to be a stadium that houses 5,000 or 10,000 people, but it's a facility, and I mentioned what is happening now in a lot of the schools in Kingston, where Jamaica College, for instance, and Kingston College have put tracks in, and Calabar have put tracks in to train their kids, but at the same time they can be used as for evening events, right? So what we're looking here for is a training facility for the region where it could be an 8-lane, it might have seating for 500 or so, but it's mainly for training and those sort of activities. So the schools can come up to it and use it. There would be a rental again for it, but it's available, okay? And then last but not least is the athletes dormitory, where we're following a theme which our company developed with FIFA recently at Mona Bowl in UWI, where what they've done there is they have a 24-room dormitory facility. And the idea of it is that teams come in, they may spend a week of intensive training and they use the dormitories. So therefore the coaches have this captive audience. In other words, people aren't going back home and then coming the next day. They have them there for maybe a week or so, where they can train them and they can use any of these facilities. So again, it's an expanding market. Suddenly you have a facility that has athletics, it has football, it has cricket, it has netball, it has basketball, and it has a gym. So that is what we consider a comprehensive development of a sporting facility that can not only be used for sports, but can be used for other venue operational ideas, okay? The only other things associated with that is we recognize we have to put in parking, so we'll have overflow parking for buses and coaches, because again, we have to consider that if you're bringing in people and you're really marketing this place, you might have 20 buses coming in, and therefore you have to parking for those buses. Okay, so it's parking facilities and the whole thing of security. You came in here and it was fairly dark. If we get the LED lights and photovoltaic systems, you can come in and you don't feel intimidated when you come in here because the public areas are lit up. So you can come in and use the car parks, okay? All right? Okay, so as we reinforce, it is a multi-purpose venue that can facilitate more than one thing. So cricket is no longer going to be considered the only activity. We hope to be able to introduce other activities, and importantly, these activities at a community level. We're not trying to introduce activities at the high-end, top athletes level. We're trying to introduce community activities that will develop those people who use this facility into the high-end performers. Okay? All right? Anything else you guys want to add?
I think we should allow Mr. Ray to do the second. If there are questions right now about this, ask them, and then we just move, and then we'll come back again.
On the matter of the lights, is it actively built to accommodate permanent lighting at specific events?
Yeah. Yes. What is happening now in the world is within the last 5 or 6 years,
Yeah.
lighting technology has moved dramatically. You now have lights that you put up on a mast that not only can focus for one event, but just by going into your computer, you can change them and they can focus for another event. Lights now can be dimmable right down to when you have 5 people on the field just doing a basic training drill, and brought up back when you have all 22 athletes on the field doing a match. What we don't want here is we don't want competition lights, which is what you need for high definition TV, which really is, you know, lights that can capture slow motion movement and everything else. We won't have that, but you'll have lights sufficient that you can run, you can train, and you don't feel that, you know, there are blind spots. And these lights, these new lights, are very energy efficient. They're far more energy efficient than any of the lights we have now. And in fact, we've had 3 people, international people, one from Philips International, who have come down and they're giving us a quotation for installing these lights, and 2 other companies who are very interested in putting in lights to these facilities. And one of the arguments we have used with them is, no use coming to us to tell us, here's our product. You need to tell us, okay, here's our product and this is the running cost of your product in 5 years. So we at least know when we install them what are going to be the costs to manage those lights over the next 5 years.
And this new generation is also much more user friendly. It's not a matter of going down the hall and booting up and flicking a switch. You can sit there and remember that that field should have been turned on to low intensity, and while you're talking to us, you program it. In other words, this new generation of lighting is a game changer. And these are the people we're talking to. We need the most up-to-date, the most user-friendly, the most economical in use, and also about how parts change. They don't expect a total obsolescence. The idea is that you can change parts.
And
so that's what we're talking about at the moment.
one of the nice features of these lights as well is it can give you instantaneous billing. In other words, you can come in and you can have the lights running, and when you're finished the match or the training facility, we can go on the computer and you can tell them, okay, this is your consumption, and therefore this is your bill. Whereas before you'd have to estimate it based on JPS billing or whatever. This can give you instantaneous. And it's not new. Jamaica College was one of the first schools to just recently install these lights into their facility, so that the coaches now can go into the evenings and run training facilities there. They have 4 mast towers around their track, and that's what they use. And it can be directed to the track, or it can be directed to the field, whichever one you want to have it on.
And we've been getting a lot of very positive comments from people who drive by and the surrounding community. Because one of the big issues with lighting, if you look at the National Stadium at night, it's like it's lighting half of Kingston. When you drive past Jamaica College now, it is very low bleed lights. In fact, you'll be driving past on the road with the lights on, and you're not even aware, because it's directed and focused in a specific area. And this was a specific requirement, and they proved that they can deliver, so that the surrounding community doesn't feel threatened by those lights. All right, yes?
Yeah.
Yes, someone.
One question I want to ask is that, how is the when this is developed, what is the management structure? Like originally, when the stadium was set up, it was supposed to have a company by the name of North Coast Sport and Entertainment Company.
You should speak first.
And it sets out one who was supposed to be the director.
Okay.
Now, in 2004, the Independent Park put out a plan. In 2013, another one was put out. And we are in 2019 now. What's the prospect of any of these coming to reality?
All right.
Let me answer that question. That is policy issues.
Yeah.
That nobody here can
I was going
answer.
to give him the answer.
That will be done by the Ministry of Sports,
Yeah.
not by us. We are going to put the thing together then they will dictate how it's going to be managed.
Yeah, we
Currently,
shouldn't have done that.
Independence Park manages it,
Becomes a-
but what happens in the future, none of us here can respond to that. So we're not going to answer that question.
No, we can't answer the question. But I would have put it a different way. There's another part of the presentation from Mr. Ray where he's going to speak about things like that. And those are part of our program. It won't have names. There's nothing to do with that. It is about what the proposals are and how we as consultants would recommend a structure to the government that should be there. And if that is good enough for you, that's what we can give you. We can't give you names.
Apart from the two cricket football field that you put out there and the entrance gate, there's nothing new. There's nothing new that has not been in any of the plans before. Apart from the entrance thing, all the rest have been new. And the omission of a sports museum was also proposed. I didn't hear that in that. But what I'm saying is that there's nothing new. So, and we are waiting from 2003 to 2014 and now again. And I understand Mr. Brown has said that we can't do anything. But I mean, the proposals are there to put a take it to the people and see them supporting what the plan.
Although you say there's nothing new, I think listen to Mr. Ray's presentation, and you'll see that I think the newness is the strategic direction we have taken in terms of analyzing what this facility can support. Okay? Maybe in the past that wasn't done, but now that is a charge that we have to really analyze that.
Right, so Waterhouse did one, a complete thing, so let's see what you have to say and see if it's different from Price Waterhouse.
Yeah, just one question on the lights. I think I heard that the lights would be just for practice.
The lights.
Is that correct?
Yeah, there are three levels of lighting technology we have. We have what you call practice lighting, then there's normal competition and international. Right? Practice lighting is the lowest level. Then just competition, like for instance, if you're having a schoolboy match, you might be able to run lighting for that here. But international lighting invariably requires you to have high definition cameras, and so that you can run slow motion and that. And the intensity of those lights, we wouldn't be able to put in here, right? Because that's a major cost. So really what you're running here is you're running practice and competition at certain levels. Okay?
So
it's good lights though, you know. Don't listen to the words. It is stuff that your eye generally won't pick up, but the cameras will know the difference.
Okay. I'm not worried about the cameras.
Good.
My concern is, I think T20 cricket has taken over, and I think having some night crickets here, local, would generate a lot of buzz. So that's where I'm going with it. Is that lighting would be good enough for that competition? T20 cricket?
No, I don't think you could cover international T20 cricket.
I'm talking local.
Local T20 cricket, yes. Okay.
I think that other gentleman had his hand up earlier. Yes, you?
Yeah, that's
You're okay. All right. We're going to ask Mr. Ray now to do his presentation, which might answer some of the other things, because his thing is not about building an architecture. His things are about some of what you're asking. How do you get in? You're in back here now.
Good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I am not going to repeat or try not to overlap on that which has been said before, but what I'm going to try to do is complement, anticipating some of the questions that you have already articulated, slideshow, and make this presentation a lot more complimentary. Now, another thing I need to say about it is this presentation is meant for all stakeholders, including ministry, management, community, organizations X, Y, and Z. So what I'll do is I'll use it as my guide to speak from. But you might find me jump over some of the slides because it's not necessarily applicable to us here. What we're trying to do is find out what I consider two things. We have heard about what we're going to do and about in when we are going to do it. But I want to concentrate on connecting the dots, which is how we're going to do it and why we're doing it. Maybe why first, then how. That's okay? So those are the two caveats I have. So as I said, it's going to be what you see there would be the things that may have a lot more words than you need, but listen to me more than you read in front of you. So the way I approach things is to align what you want to what you want to accomplish based on the vision that we have set ourselves. So it's more about alignment. So everything we do must mean that it's a predicted outcome as quickly as that outcome can happen, and it is going to meet your overall objectives. So in doing that, we recognize that, when I did this project, I can tell you, it's not from 2007. You have literature going back 1920. So it's not that we're repeating things. It's a matter of how you go about approaching them to be done. So you have over time where stadiums have taken on, you have a stadium, it's built for that time, it's no longer viable. You explode it, remove it, and build a new stadium, which is new for the next couple of decades. In our case, we don't have that option of exploding this building, flattening it, and setting up a brand new stadium. That's not an option. However, that doesn't mean that it hasn't happened elsewhere in the world. It happens all the time. Instead of getting rid of the stadium, you upgrade it. So what I've made the point here is that is economically obsolete, which this stadium is, and not that it is useless and inadequate. So we can make it economically viable, and that's where we move to and move from. So the mandate that you have heard us receive from our bosses, being the ministry and the IPL, is that it must be economically sustainable, and it can be maintained so that in the next 2 to 3 years, as you know, if anything isn't maintained from day one, it's en route to being useless in another 3 years. So we have to make sure that it starts maintenance start from day one, not day 30, not year 2, but day 1. And finally, that the infrastructure is improved in order to meet certain standards. Standards that are international, standards that are local, standards that meet just a customer. Any one of you going into a place, into a bathroom, right, need to feel that you're going into somewhere which you would like your children to go into, let alone yourself. So even that standard must be met. We cannot have a half-built thing that you can't utilize. So those are the things that our mandate brought us to. So first of all, we had to recognize these priorities, and these priorities were set for us, and then to recognize what are their outcomes. And the outcome had to do with, can we attract and make it attractive for organizers, patrons, sporting associations, people looking internationally and decided, will I come to Jamaica or will I go to Barbados or just, I'm even talking talking regionally. You could go anywhere in the world. Why would you come to Jamaica? We have 4 billion travelers or visitors coming here. They come for a reason. It's not because Jamaica is Jamaica and they flock here. We have to make an attraction, we have to make a selling point that will attract folks. So building and refurbishing a facility does not meet the objective. It is what you do with a facility in making it attractive to patrons, sponsors, business people, community, just regular everybody that makes the difference. It is the outcome that you are concentrating on. So we have heard about the proposed facilities, and we have seen it and we have heard it before. Again, so I won't go back over that. I will also not, what I will do is I will speak to the process by which we're seeking to connect the dots of this is what we want to accomplish, what are the important things that we would have to do to realize that objective. I won't get into the name of it, but that is essentially what we are seeking to do. Now, if you look on this slide or listen to what I'm saying, the stakeholders include you, but they also include the initiator, which is the Ministry of Sports and the government, and it also includes organizations, national and local sports organizations, but it also includes entertainers. Entertainment is a big part of an attraction. Sand and sea, as you know, does not make an attractive tourist destination. Agree? Sand, sea, and a room also does not make people come and pay X dollars for an attractive tourist destination. It is what they do on the sand and the sea. It is what is so special about our sand and sea and room that bring people to the venue, the facility, inclusive of this facility. And that is what we're seeking to do. Create the attraction, not create the venue and the facility and assume that once we build it, everybody will come. That's the prime mistake that not only us, but many people have made. So let us not consider us special that this is a mistake that we have made. People make it over and over again. Build it and they'll come. It is what you do with the facilities. So having said that, we have to make sure that we know what the consequences to each of the stakeholders are, and that is what we call our project vision. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but I think you have got my point, that we are seeking to make the facility come alive and not to just to build the walls and the facilities and the cricket pitch and the football field and hope that everybody just jump on the field and jump in the building and make it alive. I might add, when I came in here, somebody asked me, what are your plans? And I said, I only have one plan, and it's to make the place alive. You only can make the place alive when you have people. If you don't have no people, no matter what plans, what facilities, no matter how modern you make it, it fails. It will continue to deteriorate because we haven't put in money to maintain it. But the fact is, the people are not spending any money. They're not using it. So that is why they're not spending any money. And therefore, the venue, no matter how modern, how creative you make it, has failed in its objectives. So, following that, we wanted to look at the things that will make it come alive. The athletes, the sporting associations, the administrators, and in fact the patrons. Now, you all know that sponsorship is not about who likes you, why they sponsor you, right? It is about how many people are going to come to your facility, why the sponsors are going to sponsor you, because that is what allows them to invest in a sponsorship, because people are going to come to see their products, buy their products, and then that is how they get a return on their sponsorship. Am I right? Right. So it's very important that the patrons come here so that the sponsors can come here, and so the sponsors can take up facilities, put up attractions to continue that role going. Are you with me? So a lot of the things that we did, first of all, and some of the folks are in here, is to really find out from the business people, from the community folks, from the schools and wherefore, what would it take for you to come here, and what would it take for you to take $1 out of your pocket and spend it? What would you spend on when you come here? And that was important to put the business ventures together to create an attraction, to attract people. So I remember a gentleman saying about how do you get people in here and what the management is going to be and what have you. That can be looked at differently. How you look on it differently is how do you select the vendors, the facilities, the business people who are going to invest money in coming here to attract customers, that the monies that they are going to be paying for the facility is a return in their business. That is the key shot. So if you don't choose right, you will not be able to get somebody to lease or rent the facilities that would allow you to maintain the facilities. It's a business. You understand? So let us get into first putting the businesses together so that we can attract their patrons to come in. First, I'm even thinking that you need to attract the patrons first, and the business people see that people are flocking around it, and then they will come. So I think the people are more important than the businesses that we are seeking to attract. Bring the people, and my feeling, and this is just an aside, children, school children, I see a lot of events where the stadiums are empty. Money is being made because you are broadcasting rights. So there are some monies made. But once you make the money to broadcast right, you fill up the place with children, bring them in free, give it to them so that everybody says, well, this is a great place to be. You know what that means? Other people looking on are endeared to your facility. So it's just an example of how children can in fact bring value to the facilities that are unused and to us not making the money that it should make. Just an example. I want to get into things called pricing. Somebody said that UTech expressed an interest. And I'm going to get into the politics, but I can tell you this. Anybody can express an interest, but if you ask me to give you for $10,000 when I need it at $100,000, you're going to have to make a decision. Is that $10,000 able to pay my bill? Or do I just give it to you? So if you had nobody, if you had a revenue of zero, and somebody came and said, I'll give you $1, it's $1 more than what you had in your pocket before, correct? But it doesn't mean that your economic value is worth $1. It means that you need to do some work in making the facilities of a nature where it cannot afford to attract a particular price. You understand? So let us not say UTech, UE, or any organization that comes in and say, boy, you know, I do nothing with the facility. Why don't you give me free? At least I can bring people in there. That's not necessarily an economic way to look on the facilities. And what we're seeking not to do is to do that. If we're going to invest monies into it, we must look at how you make the investment and whether you are indeed able to attract businesses that will give you a greater than what you have spent. Later on, I'll speak of that economic model, how you choose who you rent to. And there is an economic model for that, but I won't touch on that. All I'm mentioning right now is the pricing. You have pricing that is involved in selecting the attractions that are going to make it great.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure if I'm the only minister here, but if I am the only one, then I represent the church community. And you talk about revenue. And I do believe that if we're going to brand this place, we need to put things that attract the churches. Because a lot of times we need places for retreat, convention, concerts. And the church community is one of the biggest communities. So we have to put plans in place to attract the church.
And I'm in full agreement, and this is where I'm saying that the plans is, how do I get various community sectors to find it attractive? If I have a facility here, and it's not attractive to you based on what you want to accomplish, you aren't going to come here, one, and you won't even entertain the price that I'm going to ask you to come in. My challenge as a management, whatever that management structure is to make sure that every market segment will be able to find a reason for coming here and pay a price that is able to cover my costs. That is all that it takes. I am not going to exclude the church. I'm not excluding cricket. I'm not excluding reggae or soca or thing. But what I will have to do is find a way
to select these or have facilities that are attractive to you, because you're going to be paying the bill. So if you're not attracted to it, I don't have the right alignment. So the alignment is important. There was another hand.
Yeah.
Have I answered your question? That the plan that we have is not a second or a third plan, is the same plan. That is, when I'm talking to customers and when I'm talking to people who I want to do business with, I have to look on them eye to eye. I have to look on them who they are, what they do, because when they look at me back, they have to say, I want to do business with you, right? So, and then I'm going to do that to somebody else. I'm going to do that with this gentleman here.
And before you go there, just to say that model has already been tried and tested, because you have church organizations who rent Sabina Park for conventions and church organizations that rent the National Stadium. So it's
And
tried.
here.
Yeah. So it's a tried model.
And it's accepted.
I have a concern. From where I see, I have the understanding that they are going to be, you speak of this facility being an international facility, right? Now,
Can I just say something? Can I just say something about international? Remember what I say, I want it to be as everything to every man.
Right.
That is paid. So I just wanted to
I just want to make a point regarding the lights, which were projected. I think there's plan for international cricket to come to this state. And if we have a deficiency in the light, then it's obvious that you won't get this.
So
the CPL and they have interest in bringing the West Indies cricket have interest in bringing cricket. So if the lights are not adequate for night game, then you are telling us that you won't get these.
So I'm going to touch on that, and I'll touch on it this way. There's international cricket, and then there's international cricket. There are grounds that no matter how much the lights are going to be shiny and bright, we would not meet the standard for a particular international cricket. I'll give you one example. The international cricket, you can't play football on the turf. That turf the two football fields would go, and you'd only have the outfield. The outfield cannot have other things on it. So you have to be careful where your income stream is coming from. Because if I get CPL, for example, and the calendar days that I have CPL, that is after I take out the football fields, is 1 week. And then for the rest of the year, I have nothing left. I might have a problem paying my bill based on the income generation. Not saying that CPL isn't a good opportunity, but what you want to do is to balance. So there's another type of international cricket that takes place very frequently in the Caribbean, which is either at the 16-year-old level, whether it is training facilities where you have 2 weeks up to 3 weeks of cricket teams coming down and using training facilities and what have you. You have regional cricket that may be able, as we had said before, that the 2020 can be held there. So what I'm saying in a very respectful way is that you have to look at what market segment in international cricket will enable you to hang your hat. You may not be able to hang it on Test cricket for Australia versus West Indies, but that doesn't mean that you're not able to offer international facilities to cricket associations that would find this venue attractive and more attractive than Sabina. So if you want to look at, if we were to compete with Sabina, for example, to get CPL, what would make Trelawny a viable venue versus a venue that is in Jamaica versus a venue that is in the region, and so on and so forth. So I'm just saying, let us look a little broader
and not say that we can't reach international cricket, but let us look at how we can reach international cricket. I want to just pause there and.
Quality of the lights is what we can.
But you need,
And
remember.
The ground out here,
Yeah.
it's a field that can take a lot of football footing. And,
No.
And it's a sand base.
Respectfully, may not, because. Yeah, all right, I get you. All right. Speak to
You are
me.
telling the North Coast people who would prefer to come to this stadium to watch an international game at night that no, you need to go to Kingston with that type of light.
All right. So I know Mark wants to get in, but I just want to remind you again, the organizer of that international cricket and the sponsors associated with the event will look on capacity, not only light, but capacity and streaming, how they're going to make their other monies, what kind of sponsors they're going to be able to bring in. If we aren't able to get another 100, 200, a million, 2 million people watching that particular event, they certainly won't be able to get it on 5,000 seats, even with the greatest venue in the world. So all I'm saying is we look at the entire picture of how we go about attracting international events, because we know that there are some nuances that will prevent us from getting it, but there are some idiosyncrasies associated with this venue that allow us to get certain other events. And what we want to get is the best events for the venue. Not just any event, not just one every 2 years, but as many as possible to make this a thriving, hopping venue. You're not buying that, but we can talk. All right. I want to. The danger is always in these conversations that things get fractured, go off into our little cells. I'm going to put it in simple English. There are 365 days in the year. Remember that. 365. And 366 when it's his birthday. All right? But what is happening with most facilities, when you look at them, we realize that the missing piece, and this is not a slight on Major Brown, is management and marketing. Well-managed facilities and properly marketed facilities for 365 days, including day and night, 2 different slots, has the potential to work. If we keep the politics out of it and focus on management and what I just said about time, then it is very likely that we could have a very efficient and very profitable facility here, which could meet most, not all needs, because some needs become a little selfish. Meaning, they can only probably be accommodated 10 of those days, if you're lucky, to the detriment of the others. Sir, the cricket is one of them. I'm talking about top-level international cricket. Because the potential then to open it up to the other things is significantly diminished. And I think this is what you're trying to point out. It doesn't mean that you can't have international cricket. Women's cricket is a big deal, and it is getting bigger. And it probably doesn't need those top-level lighting. It needs good lighting, and we are talking about good lighting, you know. We are talking about lights. I would prefer to use it in sound. Your ears cannot pick up some of the nuances in sound. And we spend a lot of money buying real top quality stuff. And most of us, we're just trying to take photographs of that absolutely fantastic view earlier.
And we found out that the cameras that we have in our pockets, which take fabulous snapshots, are just not good enough to get the color and all the things you want outside. Does that mean you have to go and now buy a top level camera just to get that view for the one time a year that I come down here? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The camera you have in your pocket can do 99.9% of what you need to do, and it's good enough. This stadium needs to be all things to all people, and a good top quality management team needs to manage this facility, top quality. I won't choose the people to answer the question the gentleman asked. And if it's successful, when it is successful, it will rise above each and every politician, whatever color or stripe they are, because people want to be a part of success. Nobody wants to be a part of failure. And right now when we're talking about here, everybody's running for the hills and pointing everywhere else. We do not intend to be a part of failure, nor do you. That's why you took the time this evening to come here. We are listening to you. We are recording what you say. And we are going to try. Most of what you've asked, we've actually looked at already, including what you asked. So, right? The point is, the team needs to come on, and the team has to be properly trained and flexible. Because things that we think of now will change tomorrow. You also have a community, by the way, that sit very close to the boundary. They weren't here when this facility was built. And I don't know if any of you come from those immediate surrounds, but many of those people are concerned. They would like to be a part of this, but they're concerned. They're concerned about the extra lighting. They're concerned about sound, big sound, not just the music. They're concerned about cars, plenty cars, too many cars getting close to their boundary. They're concerned about security. In other words, when this great success takes place, they're concerned about what it will do to them. Okay? So, this place to work, there are things that a government, any government has to commit to. That road coming from the highway in here is totally inadequate as it is to meet the needs now before we've even developed it. The cars coming off the hill going down, they're traveling at a good pace. Just coming in, every time I come in, you have to watch it. The roads have to be widened and treated properly. A simple thing like that. The roads are mine. I see what you mean. So that's one. So that has to be treated seriously as a sort of national thing. The other one, there's a gully. There's a gully that runs through the thing. We cannot do the things we are showing you, many of them, unless the gully is trained. Now the gully is trained further up until it reaches the boundary of this property. The government, whichever government is not to do it color, has to fix the gully if they want to reap the rewards that can come from what we're doing. Because again, we are not proposing a second-rate facility that will blow away. We want to build a facility that when the storm comes, as storms come, the storm will go and we will clean up and we will move on the day after the cleanup. Not have to rebuild it. There are standards for that. Those are the standards that we are writing in, that Mr. Ray and others are costing. I just felt I had to say this, to say that we've come here and we are telling you that these are the proposals that Major Brown and the others have asked us to provide for this facility. And that is what we intend to put to the government and the Ministry of Finance. Okay? And we've already explained to you the basis on which we're doing it. It's an ability to manage and run itself and pay for itself long after we've gone. And hopefully all of you will participate. So if there are questions around that, or you think that I've said the wrong things, please tell us now. Back to you.
I appreciate and love what is going on with the stadium now. But
intentionally put a accommodation component in it yet, or the intention of putting that.
You want to take it?
Because I would like to invest in the accommodation.
just link this
Well, be clear on what you mean by accommodation
Okay.
component, because
part of
hold
it-
on a minute, because what we have is we have a provision over on this side
Yes.
for a facility that can, which we call a
Modest.
dormitory facility, which is for accommodation for teams that come in or people who come in that want to use the facilities. That has to be costed to see if it is viable, right? And we can run on a viable basis.
That's what I was going to say. Because that parking lot over there could have the first floor as parking and then accommodation above. Because like the gentleman said, a lot of Spanish hotels coming in, and I'm sure the accommodation will put a lot of money into IPA instead of sending the people that come for sports and entertainment to one of those Spanish hotels. So I'd love for that company.
That's a perfect example of a phase 2 after we've been paid and left. In other words, no, and I'm not being rude. I am saying that you need to start to walk before you start to sprint. You saying can't tell you that. And the thing is that we need to begin the work, and then when the success is there and that need comes, it will follow like night follows day. Rasasta.
Well, they said that about Las Vegas. Build the hotels and the people will come. So if you have accommodation, the people will come.
All right, sir. There are others down here, though.
Good evening.
Yeah.
You take pride in mentioning that you're looking to develop this fair to be all things to all people.
As best as possible.
As best as
As best as
I
possible.
understand. If I can say that I would be one of the residents in the community very close by here, I want to really understand what's in it for me as a resident close by here. We have 2,000 at least homes here.
Yeah.
What is inviting here on a daily basis? Would you put something, for example, like indoor-outdoor swimming pool, which would bring me and every other family in here at least 3 times a week? It would enable us to train lifeguards. It would enable us to go through swimming classes. We all know how difficult that is. Oceanfront is there, but we can't do any of those activities there. Those types of amenities in this complex could indicate to me what the daily bread and butter that you would need here, the support of the local infrastructure would need here. Yes, you're bringing in sports, athleticism, schools, international things, but we're right beside you. And so far, while I'm loving the energy that may be coming here after 13 years or 16 years or whatever the case is, I'm not yet seeing a reason that I would want to just cross the street and be here.
But I don't know if you're here for the start of the presentation.
And I missed the first 20 minutes, so I do
But
apologize.
one of the very
Says.
first things we presented was that our focus is primarily on a community facility. A community facility that will provide changing rooms and everything for the people. But more importantly, it provides netball courts, basketball courts, volleyball courts, and a small football field for the community to use as a paid facility. And also a gymnasium. So if you come home late, you come home at 8 o'clock, you could easily come here, go to the gym, have your training sessions, or first thing in the morning, go to the gym. And I mentioned the parallel that this gym would be equivalent to a Spartan in Kingston, which if you look at the throughput of Spartan, you go there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it is full with people who have come down to use the gym to go back home, to change off and go to work. Those are the types of facilities we are using which will support the community, but they come at a cost, and therefore the membership is important to those. So you who live in that community would become a member of this gym or a member of the community facilities so that you can come in and you can benefit from them. So those are some of the key drivers that we want to put into this project.
Right, but the second part of it, to be very specific about what you asked, we are not, and this would apply not just to your idea about swimming, but it would also apply to the things about the living in facilities. We are not trying to compete with the hotels. We are trying to augment and support the hotels. What that means is a lot of swimming pools, training of various things, I believe, happens already. If it is shown, remember we're not going to develop, you notice how much green space there are in the pictures we showed? More green space than anything else. If it is shown as time moves on, that those things are necessary, can pay their way, etc., the management committee, it would come to them and they would look at the viability of it, and those things can be added. We can't build everything at once and then we get another white elephant. You have to take things in stages. The things we are talking about now are the things that we have checked on, and those are commitments to the most part. In fact, those line up phase 1, phase 2, right? The swimming pool, I think, would be a phase 3. Question mark. Right now, it's not a top line item, but it could be.
Sorry, I just want to finish the third part. But that is the engagement that we have to do as management and marketing to determine if we are aligned to our market, our customers. So if our customer is the, as you have said, the 3,000 that are surrounding, just throwing them a gym may not be it, but we have to look on what the bill out, what will make you buy. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
If you are not buying now, pardon?
Is it that you've done a market study with those of us that are here? As in the
Not in depth, no. Only because, as I said, we weren't starting from scratch. We were starting from what we currently have and what can we use with what we currently have. So if you're getting 0 from what you currently have, can you get 1? Can you get 2? Before you start to look at, can I get 10 and 20? And you start the engagement, because if you don't have anybody here, I have nobody to talk to. But if you start to get people to use it, that is our customer that you want to start to talk to. You understand? So when you say, are we all things to all men? We try to be, but we're not going to have 100% for everybody, as you rightfully recognized. But we have to start doing that methodology of creating products and businesses and revenue generating ideas from that basis, and not just throw it out there and say, come and get it. That's not the way it's going to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, sir, before you leave, everything that is being said here, forget, not just on the camera, we're actually taking notes, because nobody brought that to us before. So we're writing it down. It would be helpful if before you leave you give us your name.
Yeah, I think everybody.
All the people who are bringing up new things, yours is not new, sir, it's in. But all the new things, we will tell you as you bring it up, whether it's new or not. And we're making the notes.
That you're in.
Right? Because until we hear from you, and we've been, that's what Winry has been doing, talking to the communities, to try and find out what are the burners.
And although we may not have physically gone into some of the communities to do a study, we have done a study of the region, and therefore we know that gyms and things like that are lacking, or quality facilities like that are lacking, and therefore could be supported, and that's why we recommend them. Okay? So we have done that due diligence as well.
And just to help you, we're not just talking about weights. We're talking about places you can go and do yoga and Taibo and get a massage, and there are many other aspects to a modern gym than just taking iron and moving it. Okay?
So I want to segue into an example of what our competitors are doing, and you tell me how far away we are in creating this. Give me a sec. All right. So Barbados, picture what they're saying. Barbados, and you can read along with me, has positioned itself to take a share of the global sports tourism pie. Now, you have heard us speak about sports tourism for how long? 5 years, 10 years, decade, 2 decades, what have you. And we have different versions of it, but we still haven't grasped it. So the government has stated its intention to grow tourism product and showcase sports as economically productive sector, and to use it to increase tourism revenue with a combination. So I'm going to give you a quote from the website. Maybe you'd like to watch a match at their national stadium, the Kensington Oval. Two, during your stay, as well as playing some friendly matches. Barbados is a land of friendly, helpful locals,
Picture postcard beaches with white sand and palm trees along southwest coast, dramatical cliffs down to the Atlantic to the east coast, and altogether much slower way of life. You can find great nightlife, yada 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 yada. Doesn't that sound like something that comes out of our own tourism textbook? No. Huh? We try to have it for different things, but this is people seeking to get international cricket at their sports ground. So and then if you go on further, and this is all on the website, you'll be delighted to assist you. We will be delighted to assist you in organizing your junior cricket tour to Barbados. When do we ever say to an organizer that we will take care of it, and when you come here? We build a facility and we hope so you come. We offer you a professional and personalized service, taking care of the workload to start to finish, working with our individual requirements to create an exciting junior cricket tour for your group in Barbados. The point I'm making, and they go into accommodations and boat trip and what have you. Yeah, my point is, it's an approach and a way to get a segment of the market to come to a small Caribbean island, to a small cricket ground that is surrounded by sand, sea, rooms, accommodations, businesses of all different types. And guess what happened? They are very successful at it. In fact, this is our model. We have to actually benchmark them because they get so much more income generation around that level of cricket than Kensington Oval does from Test cricket or even CPL.
So Trelawny cricket.
So Trelawny cricket can have its own special
Trelawny and Jamaica cricket will be doing this in the future to help to enhance this facility's marketing drive.
If we want to. The fact is we have to do it, We can't it just don't happen. It is something that we have to plan. We have to see what we need to do, and we have to see who is going to make it happen. When you tell people you're going to organize their cricket tour, we don't have nobody for organize nobody cricket tour, right? We don't have anybody marketing to say I want this market segment. So we have to put in those facilities. We have to put in those resources. Those resources need an investment. The investment I know can go from some places, but I won't say it in this area. But we have some recommendations of where it can come, because that is the investment that will allow you to build an attraction to cricket tourism. I call it cricket tourism, but you can have football tourism.
Sure.
You can have any type of tourism. And the tourism I'm saying is because they have so many other people. I mean, together we come up to 100,000 living in around this area, right? But then you have 1 million people who visit. So you want to have throughput of people, visitors and locals, spending money in your facilities, and therefore you get more businesses being viable. You get sponsors coming in to sponsor events because there are so many people passing through your facility. So that is the general concept of how to make it happen, and not to keep on saying the same things. As the gentleman had said, we have heard museum before, we have heard cricket field before, we have heard tourist attraction before, but they're all in their silos. They don't connect to make an attraction of revenue generation that is able to pay for the operating costs of offering the facilities. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. Let me first thank the Independence Park and the advertising team and all of you for really putting together this presentation. It's long in coming, and I really appreciate the consultation that you have started, and even the town hall meeting, just to get us, some of us out and do this and that. Must commend you all on what you are doing this evening. But there are some things that we have to take in. And this is why, and that is why I have to say something, because you brought up this Barbados idea. And you must understand that we're comparing two different facilities. Barbados is a country that attracts more European persons from England, and so the tourist market is different from us in Jamaica, who our tourists come from the United States and Canada. That is the bulk of our market. Barbados tourists come from Europe and where they are cricket friendly. So that sales pitch here will be good. In this Trelawny facility, we have something unique. This parish is blessed with the talent of athletes. The Usain Bolt, right over here. Veronica Cam. You can name how much of them. Michael Freighter, everybody. We have not even touched the iceberg of even a track around the stadium. A real track field that we can really start selling something. And that is what we need to say. We must market this stadium, what we have, based on our athlete. As a matter of fact, the next government we're going to make sure we propose the Usain Bolt area was got #1 Independence Park, one part of the road that has been closed in the past so much year, and I've been begging NWA and everybody to let us meet with Independence Park. We opened that, we should be utilizing that road a year ago. There's more than 3,000 houses built around the stadium since it has started. More than 3,000 houses built. And everybody here, all of the residents here, because I see two of my good friends here who live in close proximity. And their fees have 828 houses down at Florence. Right? And the two women here, that is just putting in another 1,000 houses, right to the left of the stadium here. And what we have to look at, all of this stadium was here before, and I want everybody to understand that the stadium, and we have to do, as I said, we have to name the road, the Usain Bolt, something we have to dualize it and do all this something, or with Olympic Boulevard and something. Those are the things that we have to make it become a sport. And make this stadium become a sporting mecca and what people are attracted to. So we name, and we can do those through the council, we name the roads, we have the athletes, we have all of that. That is what we start I want to hear from. How do we look at it to make here? Because I love the idea to make the over 300 houses, the residents over there can have the music facility. Because you have a ready market. All of these persons coming here. But we already, as I said, I am from a place where community feels. The most talked about thing in Jamaica is the UDC. I saw Mr. Down here earlier. UDC. We go in, we create fields with everything. And everybody asks for fields. We create the fields, we create all of these facilities. They can't be maintained because it's actually owned by the local authority. So we can create somewhere you have the luxury of having one here that might be one of the better ones. I don't know you might should maintain it because my time I always wish we could have taken it over. The local authority should have controlled the park. Other than Independence Park, control the major ground, it should be controlled by the local authority.
We're paying for it.
It's been paying for it.
So let me engage you. I want you to. Oh, you're not finished. Go ahead.
No, you want
No, you stand up right
please,
there.
please
I want to engage you
talk.
a bit. We started with the Barbados issue and the Euro. Remember what I said, this can apply to any sport. Yeah. In fact, the market that we're targeting is the North American market, who crave cricket and who we have moved cricket from Sabina to Fort Lauderdale in order to reach them. So I'm just saying that we can create, not only for cricket.
We started right here.
I know, but
you know that is when we own this, what my commissioner now, who brought the stadium, we twinned before that day. That was where is the building of the stadium.
So the point I'm making is
oldness.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, his commissioner oldness, he's now deputy. He's deputy. He's now the deputy mayor.
So where we are agreeing is that we can target our product to the appropriate market. That's the point I'm making. They have done it with their traditional market. Little England in Barbados have reached out to Big England and made sure that they have a revenue generator. I am simply saying that there is nothing beyond us to do the same wherever we can find a revenue generator, which is a consistent revenue generator. And it could be in the North American, Canadian market, which we do have an affinity and affiliation. Cool? So I'm agreeing with you there. And I'm also saying that it don't have to be cricket. It can be football, it can be basketball, it can be anything that allow for that direct revenue generation to take place. It can be baseball. So we are agreed that that's what you want to do. You want to see how you can accomplish it. I want to differ with you now in something that we agree on. I agree that you take your core and your value and you make it into a money generator. So if Usain Bolt is a core brand of Trelawny, you cannot just rename something and expect everybody to drop there. You want to rename it, and you want to, when they come, they're getting other things to make their visit very memorable, right? And that is what we are now agreeing on, that anything we do here and link branding to it and have a marketing campaign to do and attract the people so that they come again and again is what will give us the objective of generating the income and managing that facility. So I don't want us to just stop at renaming or branding, because you know what people have in the States or around the world. If you're going to have a naming right, you with me? If you have revenue generating ideas that say you can name a stadium or a stand or what have you. The sponsor who pays for it. So let's say Puma decide to pay the government to name this Usain Bolt Puma Stadium, right? And you get 5 million US a year because of that naming right. The reason why Puma would do that is because you can attract people to this facility and use it, not just come here and say, oh, this is Usain Bolt Stadium, and then you leave. It is what happens in Usain Bolt Stadium. Now, you made the point of what do we do to make that happen? Put a track around this facility. The technical people can talk to the possibilities, but also the alternative, why we're going there. But I agree that you want to do things that will make people come, and not only come and see, but come in, pay a money to come in, and then after that you sell them some food, and then buy some this and some shirt that you see in Bolt, and then take some pictures, and you do all of this, and when them leave, they came in with $100 US, and them leave with $50 US. Them just don't come in free and say, oh, you see in Bolt Stadium and leave. Them spend $50 US because we sell them on other things, because they made this an experience. That is what we want to create. Not we, but we Jamaicans, right? And not we Kingston people or we Trelawny. We Jamaicans need to create that type of experience, having targeted the person who's going to take out the money out of their pocket to make that spend. So let me just have them talk about the track, because it is a good point about how can you have the home of Usain Bolt and also a track. Yes, and all of that are from this.
Okay,
just you want to
speak to that? Then,
no. Please ask your question.
Because
I'll make your point.
Hearing is that can there be some provisions for a track?
There are provisions.
Yeah, again, we have a whole track that has been put up.
Within the design that we have, we have provision for 8-lane track with a football field inside it. What we did explain in the presentation is that we're not having a provision for a national stadium with a track. Yeah. But we compared it to the schoolboy facilities, Calabar, Jamaica College and KC.
I think it would be, you could say better to Stadium East, which is which has limited abilities to run on its own, but the track is fine.
Yes. Okay.
It's your turn? Okay.
You know, it's good to using these tracks in Kingston, but we're here in Falmouth in Trelawny, and when you say when they focus, if it's going to be something for the communities, it's like to put a swimming pool aside, because here is an all-inclusive North Coast. We can't go into the hotels and to swim unless we pay $100 US per day. Now, if we have a swimming pool here, we know that our youth can be swimming champion. We have a swimming champion already. Let's make more. And I think a swimming pool should be in phase 1.
You know why you pay the $100 US to go in to use that swimming
all
pool?
exclusive.
No, not exclusive as well, because swimming pools are high maintenance facilities. To keep the swimming pool,
you can swim if you go inside and pay $100.
Good. What we're just saying is, those things, that's why we put it down on the list. In fact, one of our earlier development plans had a swimming pool included. The area is still there. We have not taken it out. So if, when we do the numbers, it is a viable operation and people are willing to pay, because all well and good, everybody will say, we want a swimming pool. But when you say, you have to pay $500 to visit it, people suddenly back off and say no, right? So if it is that it is viable, the development plan already has potential for a swimming pool in it.
Yeah, it's more than just maintaining the pool.
It's for the people.
For anybody. A swimming pool is a dangerous thing.
That's what the gentleman said, lifeguard.
Yeah, but before you get lifeguard, you have people who can't swim. Okay? So, again, you have to pay, you have to have insurance, you have to use the right materials, and somebody, you can use the word community 50 times to me, I won't move. Somebody has to pay for it, and the people who are going to pay for it are the users. Okay? So you might find out at the end of the day, it is actually more cost effective to actually work something out with a hotel who is interested. There are many hotels, sir. Don't say no yet. You're only thinking about the big guys. There are a lot of smaller hotels, and it might be worthwhile talking to them, because they have something there, they may be underutilized, it might work. But I said to the gentleman, it is not a no. Mr. Shaw has explained. But at the end of the day, when it's worked out, it is going to come. All facilities here come at a price. We have not come here to offer anybody anything for free. We don't have that luxury. We just don't.
So
the houses that were built around here, I find it fascinating that you bought homes and none of them have the facilities that you are asking us about. None of them have tracks, football fields, swimming pools. None of them have any of that. But you bought your house.
It should be here.
No, you can argue that it should be. But you bought your home with nothing. And if you got them, if you got it in the homes you bought, I ask you, who would maintain them when it was done? No, just answer the question. Who would maintain those facilities when they were handed over to you?
The residents would use.
Right. In other words, you would be forced to pay to keep them in a standard that you would like. And it's the same thing we are saying here, that anything that we are going to propose to the government comes at a price. Right, Mr. Cricket? It's not coming for free. The mandate we were given is that it is a cricket development, hear the word? Development stadium for developing talent. That's what it is.
Cricket or football or everything.
No, it will be all things, but for cricket, it was built as a cricket facility. It is geared to cricket. We don't intend to, wish to, or anything to walk away from cricket. Cricket is a core part of it. But cricket alone cannot pay for this facility. Football alone can't pay for the facility. No one thing. It has to stand on its own. So all things that are being spoken about by everybody is being looked at seriously for 365 days of the year, because that is what is going to make it viable to all of you, and you all benefit, we all benefit from that. So put it over in your minds again and understand what I am saying. There are times when the football or the cricket not running, that it still has to run. And if those are for 100 days of the year, Those 100 days of the year are viable and essential for making it viable. Something was said earlier and it was just passed over. And it was about baseball. One quick one. I have designed facilities in this country, more than one, in Mandeville, all over, around those ideas. They go nowhere. We are waiting on you, sir. You, not somebody, you, to go away and come back to us with a viable plan for putting in a baseball facility. The lands are here, we've drawn it on, and when you prove that to us, it will be built. But don't come to us with just chat. Mouth water has no value.
A sport which dovetail right into cricket and all these other sports is table tennis.
Yeah.
Table tennis
Perfect for the indoor facility. Perfect.
Table tennis is good sport for...
Every time we've looked at certain facilities, what we've found is that they can, almost anything you come, tennis, ball is in your court, because they fit easily into those things. That is really just for people in the community, any one of you, to look at the sports or the areas that you work with in your daily lives that you're interested in, and talk to the management that we are recommending for this place about how to bring it on as a #1 star agenda. And I am telling you, if you can sell them, Mr. Ray or anybody else, he's part of the one telling us money. In order, if it's not viable, you can design till it's pretty. It must be financially viable.
In my defense,
and I'm agreeing with it.
It's not all about the money,
defense.
but it is all about the net effect. So everything needs a plan, and everything needs who is going to implement the plan in order to get the objective. So using table tennis, for example, if the facility is made available, let's call it a room or whatever it is, and it requires some tools, and the plan is to, along with the Table Tennis Association, to do certain things, various things, and the plan at the end of the day comes down with something that breaks even, right? But it breaks even in year 1 or year 2. But when you look at, the rest of the plan, it builds out. It is something that can be taken on by the selection management committee to say this has somewhere to go. So just like what is being said, nothing is the wrong answer, Right. No sport, even when you say international cricket, I won't tell you no, but I can tell you that I have a variation to it. When you tell me Barbados and Little England and England, I say, no, but we have a variation to it. We can learn from it, but you have to connect the dots, because too many times we have the dots on the paper. I can give you the same list that was here 15 years ago that said this is what we was doing, and the same list is here said this is what we was doing, but there's just dot. Nothing connects. Nothing has an outcome. Nothing has a measurement. And what I'm hoping that we're bringing to the table is how to use the connection between the facility and the selection. I'm not going to show you the economic model, but it's a very simple one. It says, what revenue do you expect to get over a year, for example? And you say, can get $10. All right, $10 for the year. All right, how much you need to spend to get the $10? All right, if we spend a marketing budget of $60, of $5 a month, I can get the $5 a month. So when you multiply that, you have a ratio. And when that ratio is positive, forget about the ratio, just bear with me. You get a selection, we need to look at this. Now what I have ignored is the investment that the government has put in to get the facilities right. What I haven't ignored is what it would take to generate the revenue, because once you can generate the revenue and cover your operating costs and maintain the facility by continuously growing, you have that money that the government gives is just you don't have to pay them back.
That's right.
It's an investment that has been given, but you have to just deal with the operating costs by adopting plans that can pay for itself.
And that is what I'm proposing to the management committee to use as a selection.
That's an important
So you could have 100 people come in and say, we have a plan. You as a management committee need to choose through a model, a methodology, which one is going to be supportive of your facility. You cannot say, and I can't let you come off the hook, like a lot of us have in other areas and other businesses. Don't tell me that this is the only plan here. That, you know, somebody spend the money and I'm happy, just put in more money. And I'm, you know, if I were to say to you, all right, take over the facility, but I'm going to give you a loan. And you need to put up your house and you need to put up this because you believe in that. Just pay me back over 30 years. You would put in a plan to get that to work. Am I correct? Because you have a stake. When there is no plan to make it work, then, you know, you lose the money. Somebody putting in more, somebody building more. But that's not what we're doing. What we're just doing now is saying, let us work on the plan rather than the stake that we're going to put in as business people. To say we put in the money and we have to pay it back, otherwise the bank may take our house back or anything like that. So it's nothing different. It's nothing new. It is all about how we approach and use the same types of approaches that we have used in our business choices to make it happen in this facility. It shouldn't be, it's a government facility, so just take everything free. It should be a community facility that we can make work, and we have to look at who are the responsible parties to get them to work. And that is what is the agenda. Not that I'm looking about what is the bottom line money. So I was just defending myself. That is not all about the money. It's how we use the money for all of our benefits. And not just, as we get money, we use it, and we throw it, and we get it. You know, we look at how we can use it and get a return and reinvest it back into the same facility that we have built and grown.
If I may ask a question, and excuse my ignorance, please, as it relates to the facility in its current state. Is there someone selling the facility as we speak? Do we have business on the books for this year and next year? How is that in relationship to the infrastructure that we want to be working on and developing? So are they going to be happening in tandem, or is it that we just close the doors, 18 months later open the doors, voila, facility?
One of the issues we have is that this facility was never really completed. Even for cricket, there are still some shortcomings. We do rent the facilities. Right now it's being used, some of the sections for a classroom. We had a church convention here recently. It is hoped that we'll get 2 other regional matches next year in February. We're working on that now. But right now, the facility is not fully equipped to do anything. That's the problem. It was built just for the opening ceremony and not everything put in. What we're trying to do is get it. A lot of people come look at it. It's a nice place, a lovely place. Even some of the English teams have come, because going to Barbados every year for 20 years, after a while, there's up to see in Barbados, and they're looking at other places. Some are going to Dubai now, some have approached us. But when they come, we don't have the changing rooms. There's no what you call ice bath. All these modern facilities that they require, medical room, a gym. We don't have those things. So you can't get those people. And I just want to debunk the idea. I saw it in somebody mentioned it in the newspaper article. Why don't we get one of these major league team come down here? It costs $3 million US to bring a team like that. $3 million, because we did check it out. What you have to prepare for them. So we're not looking at those people. In fact, for football, for instance, we're looking at youth football. They don't demand as much as these high flyers, and we can do that. But part of the problem with the facility right now, it serves nobody really. And until we get these other things in place, we really can't market it.
So there's nobody well.
Serves nobody well. So that is what we're doing.
The trees that were planted on coming up from the highway up here, is that as a result of the development that we're doing?
No, trees? I'm not aware. We didn't get involved in that.
Fair enough. And the only reason I'm asking that is, having lived here for the number of years that we've lived here, the only time the place gets cut is when you're going to have a function at the stadium.
Yes, we do that.
Right?
But you see, one of the reasons why, for instance, that the road was not taken over, there was an issue between the building on the road and the parish council at NWA. So I'm not so sure what is happening there. Right? NWA.
NWA.
So those are some of the issues that what we're trying to do, as I say, is to get the place to the position that it really can, if you did a marketing team, what would we sell? Well, we really have nothing to say right now. What we do, for instance, we allow the Trelawny cricket people to use it. So they play all the matches here. JCA plays a match, because one of the worst things you can do is to lock a place down. It deteriorates faster. So we do allow certain activities here. Next week, for instance, we're going to have another town meeting with the police here. So we do allow have some facilities. I want to respond to some questions that you asked for swimming. Swimming is the most expensive sports. And I'm telling you because I am in charge of the National Stadium too. What I suggest to you, if you really want to get something going, start a dialogue with the Swimming Association, because right now, they are the ones that run the pool. We are going to close it down because it's costing us too much to run that facility. They have found a way to do it, so I suggest that you speak with the president. I can give you his number. Come up with a plan, come to us, because we are here to provide facilities that are required. Unfortunately, it must at least break even. And we're not looking for the community facilities. Whilst we're hoping to make a surplus, because you have to have a surplus to maintain the building, on the other facilities. Just like in Kingston, we do not price the use of the outdoor courts to make a surplus, because the government looks at it as development. So we're not looking to price the cost of the community facilities to make any major surplus. It's just to keep it going. The surplus that we're going to maintain, so we can do painting, is off the other facilities. So I suggest you have a talk with I can give his number, the president, and so can, and if we can find a way to do it, because it comes up, as was mentioned, it comes up a lot of discussion. Swimming. You know, they've turned the bird nest swimming pool in China into a recreational pool. That's the only that makes money now. So it's not a problem in Jamaica only. But we know it's a requirement, we need to teach people to swim, but we'll find a way to make it work.
Is the stadium known as one of the entertainment? Because the government is moving towards
entertainment
zone in some areas.
We have asked,
is this
it's
one,
not yet.
Can we get it to the zone?
Well,
major. Because what happening is that we don't have, the only place we have in this year is actually Burwood Beach and the stadium holds in the entertainment.
We have raised the issue with the minister, and it's up, maybe you can raise it there as well.
Yes.
But it is something that it has to be done through the ministry. I know there were declared a number of areas, and Trelawny was supposed to, but it has not yet been declared.
Because you see, what happened is, I don't want us to just limit, because I know that the residents around might complain about noise and so on. But we have to bear in mind that the stadium was here before.
I can't turn back the clock, no, sir.
I would have,
No, I would be very careful of
I would have preferred you say that we can find a happy medium that the residents will not be inconvenienced.
No, sir.
The entertainment is just
No, sir, you cannot do that.
for the year. And we hope that, because I try to do everything, Major Pro can tell that we could have had, jazz could have remained here. Even one art event. I spoke to Tony when we were trying to get that down here. The entertainment part of it.
Well, I don't know
is a package.
if they really stressed it. Part of the development here is to put in a did you?
Yeah, no, we mentioned, but we didn't.
Yeah, permanent stage,
Yes.
so that we can have events
Big
here
events.
without having to dig up the field. So all that, because
And the lights will help.
Sport, let me tell you something.
That is very important.
Sports brings in the least amount of money for the National Stadium Complex. Sports. I make more money from entertainment events, church events, political events. That's where I make my money.
No, he doesn't make more. He makes money from those. He doesn't
Yes,
make
he
money
doesn't
from
make
the
any.
others.
No, sports don't make any money. The point is, so if that is why that is the only one.
That is
but-
5 days of the year.
Yeah, but that is why it's important that we have a wide gamut of activities here, including some commercial activities to keep the place going, because what you want to do is to generate enough the government is not intending to put up something that will make a whole lot of money. All the government wants is to put on a facility that provides the facilities for the residents
And visitors.
to at least keep going. Because
Pay for itself.
the bottom line is that, and while we work in the tourism, is that they come here, they play, we get enough money to keep the stadium going. But they go out and spend money.
So the community
So
benefits.
they go and spend money at the resorts, they go to the golf course, they go to the beach. So the money is not necessarily spent here. We need to collect enough money to keep the place going. But the money is going to be spent in Jamaica. That's why they go and spend the money. So it is not meant to be a money-making activity. What is made an activity and a facility that can maintain itself. And if you don't do that, it's going to run down.
Just to add what you're saying, though, but it's not as you say, a money-making facility.
Right.
You know, to charge somebody $300 or $500 to bring them into a facility is something that is going to bring them back 3 times a week.
Right.
Or once a month.
Yeah.
So to do that model, whatever your gym is going to go for, it has to be something that people would stay with and commit.
I'm competitive.
And we agree.
It has to be competitive.
We've seen big players come and build gyms, charge a whole heap of money, only to change their format.
Sure.
Because after the first 3 to 6 months, membership's gone from 0 to practically 0.
Right.
Because what the hype was there in the initial stages and not again. So I think what you're saying makes an awful lot of sense. Would I be taking on the prospect of the pool myself? I think not. The point that I was making is that I believe that there's an actual demand for it. When I was speaking about lifeguards, I speak also from a partially informed position where we do not have lifeguards in Jamaica, period. And somebody needs to have the facility to be able to do a regular training program where we are taking our adolescents from our schools, getting them into swimming pools, and showing them that, guess what, you don't have to go far because of all the hotels here require 15 to 30 lifeguards depending on each property. And trust me, as soon as the rotation of that happens, you're recruiting literally every 3 to 6 months.
So
we have lifeguards moving from hotel to hotel to hotel to hotel, and you can't get new ones in the system.
So you understand that you have to separate the facilities manager from the businesses that are in the facility. Right. So if you see an opportunity where you have a plan, you could in fact, I'm not using the pool, but anything, inclusive of the pool, you could say, listen, I could make a business operating in this space at this facility, and all the facility does is rent to that because I know I get a tenant that is able to, sell people. Instead of the person going and spend $1 outside, in fact, they might spend the first $1 inside here on passing through, having come in for sport. So the point I'm making is, Major could have a facility that is rented out to 20 businesses because there's a throughput of people that are making those businesses viable and able to pay the rent for him, and he's able to maintain his facilities as the chief landlord. That, in my mind, is a vision that I think a multi-purpose facility is meant to do. So it is very important that we aim at the entity who can have the attraction there to themselves survive and be viable as a business. I don't think Major wants to run a pool or a gym or a this or a that, but I'm sure that there are persons who can do it, but it has to make sense for them. If it doesn't make sense for them, then we don't have anything to rent to them. And if we don't have anything to rent for them, it means our facilities isn't viable to generate any revenue, and then we're back to square one. So we need to make it viable by having this dialogue, by getting people to make plans around viable businesses, but most importantly, to get people to start to come here. I don't think you can just build it and hope that when we open a door, you say that I hope they come in another month or 2 or 3, because you have a rent to pay. You want to have something that allows for that momentum to start, and then you build on it. So that is why we have recommendations of how to jumpstart it, how to prime the pump, to get it going, that we would undertake, meaning the facility manager but it allows the facility manager to attract businesses to come in now because you start to see the water or the people coming in to the facility. That's the economic plan of it.
Just want to add to that. The model we're looking at is the least amount of the business that the government actually runs, is the better it will be. Because you know what happens when the government runs business. Right? The other thing is that, and I also want to re-emphasize, it's very important for a stadium to have the community involved in it. They must feel a part, because they're the ones who are going to support activities here. That's one of the reasons why we're pushing so hard for these community facilities there. So they come here every day and they use the facility and they feel a part of the stadium. And so it's very important. So we are going to do that arrangement in such a way that it's a viable both to you and to the stadium, where you can come and use the facilities. To the point where we work together to even organize competition, because that's one of the ways of getting people involved to use the facility. But we feel, and from studies and from our own experience in Kingston, when you have the community involved in the stadium, it's far better than they feel, oh, that place over there, but it's my stadium.
That's right.
You know, very important. We want the community to feel that it's our stadium. We have a stake in it, and that's where we want to go.
Okay, I'll hand back over because I think we have made the point, and the last thing I'd want to remember, you see, when your church conference happens here, I know you're going to have a youth cricket or a youth football or a youth something, table tennis, that can be a part of it, because I don't want you to just have one thing that you do here. I want you to do several things. But if you don't come through the door the first time, chances are you won't recognize the other opportunities that you can have, and that is where the multiply effect for generating income comes in. I think we have said quite a bit, but we have said one thing. We want it to be our plan that we have generating income on this model. And that's the only thing, if you leave here, to remember that you have to find a way of how you can be an investor in the facility that we are putting together, that you can run your own business, that we can get some traction through. And with that, I want to see if there is any parting.
Hi, I'm Ben Hovey. I'm with the Bob Moe Foundation. We're here in Falmouth, Jamaica, here on Jam Cruise 12, teaching the kids about sound and synthesis and setting up an interactive station with keyboards, synthesizers, effects pedals, drums, the whole nine. Had a great time. It's continuing to have a great time despite the rain. So thank you so much. Hope you guys are having a good time.
What I feel at the moment is that it's time for action in many walks of life. You know, there's no point sitting around and saying, "Oh, this sucks," and "I hate what's going on with the government." Blah, blah, blah. I think we all need to take action, and that's where I
want to thank you all for coming. And even if when you go away, you in the middle of the night tonight, a bright idea comes to you, please let us know.
Rastafari bless. Jamaica loves you. We know you love Jamaica too. Peace, love, and harmony.
You can WhatsApp me. My telephone number is 579-8390. The report is going in at the end of November.
No, before that, sir.
Well, the second week in November. So you have a couple of weeks, 2 weeks or 3, to make any submissions. You can WhatsApp me 579-8390 and I'll get it over to them. We have some refreshments over here, so please don't leave. Just go across and have some refreshments again. Thank you very much for coming.
Major, can I ask you one quick question?
Yes, sir.
As far as the state of emergency is going on in St. James and Hanover, how long will the military be here?
That is
it's a major question.
That
is a major question. Thank you for coming. Thanks.